Hello friends, do you want to get started with Spark SQL using Databricks Community Edition? Then this video is for you. Here I'll be covering quite a few important aspects related to Spark SQL in Databricks Community Edition, taking word count as an example. In the process of getting started with Spark SQL using Databricks Community Edition, you will actually create an external table pointing to specific location in DBFS. Then you will explore different functions that are available. Using different clauses in Spark SQL and different functions, you will come up with the logic related to word count. Also, you will be understanding how to write data into specific tables within Databricks platform itself towards the end of the video. That being said, to effectively learn this, you need to have account in Databricks Community Edition. If you have account, that is fine. If you do not, look at the description. We have a link about how to get started with the Databricks Community Edition. The video covers not only signing up to the Databricks Community Edition, but also getting used to Databricks Community Edition. I have covered quite a few important aspects. Make sure you go through it. It is a short video. You'll be learning quite a few important aspects with respect to Databricks Community Edition. Once you have account, come back and go to the remaining video to understand how to get started with the Spark SQL using Databricks Community Edition, taking word count as an example. Also, on top of this, as part of our channel, we have content related to building pipelines using Spark SQL. Even the links related to building pipelines using Spark SQL are included in the description. You just have to go through the links and then follow the other videos so that you can learn quite a few other important aspects with respect to Spark SQL. That being said, let's get started about building applications such as word count using Spark SQL in Databricks Community Edition. To get started with Spark SQL, you just have to go to New in Databricks landing page, then click on Notebook. The first thing you need to do is you need to ensure this is SQL based notebook. You can click on this and then select SQL, because in my case by default it have chosen Python. Now let me click on Confirm. Now you see it is converted to SQL. Let me say word count Spark SQL. This is the name of the notebook. Even here, we should be able to use %fs commands. Let me say %fs, then ls, then dbfs :/Databricks -datasets. When it comes to Databricks, it provides quite a few free datasets. This is the base folder for those datasets. In this, we have something called as Spark readme.md. We'll be using it to actually take care of word count. Let's wait until this is run. You can see here, this is the location which we are interested in. Let's copy this. Let's paste here. Then let's run this. Now you can see there's one file by name Spark readme.md. We should be able to use it to take care of word count. When it comes to word count, it means we have to find the repetitions of each and every word in the file. That being said, as we are able to preview the files, now it is time for us to preview the data. You don't need to use Python at all. Using SQL itself, you should be able to preview the data in this location. In this case, you can actually say select, then star from, then text, then dot. In backticks, you have to specify the path. Once you specify the path like this, then you should be able to run this. You can see it have ran successfully. Like this, you can preview the data and then you can take it forward. However, I wanted to create external table on top of this location and then use SQL to process the data. Let's get into those details as well. But always, if you wanted to review text files, you can use text like this to review the data in the text files. Now let's get into the details related to how to create external table. We'll also see how to preview the data in external tables. Then we'll get into the remaining details with respect to developing SQL queries to come up with word count. As we have reviewed the file that we wanted to use to take care of word count using SQL, and also as we have reviewed the data in the file, now it is time for us to create external table using this location. Let's copy this. Let's scroll down here. Then we can specify create external table like this. We can give the name. Let me give the name as lines. In this case, we can say using text. Then we have to use options. When it comes to options, we have to specify the path. Let me say path as this one. Path equal to DBFS, then column, then /, then Databricks datasets, then /, then Spark readme.md. Now let's run this. Let's see what it have to say. It have failed because I have used option in place of options. Let me change this to options. Now let me run this. Let's see whether external table will be successfully created or not. you can see the table is created. We should be able to use show tables to list the tables in the database. As of now, we are connected to default database. In the default database, we can see lines as table. If you wanted to see the structure of the table, you can use describe command. Let me say describe, then lines. It will give us the structure of the table. You can see the structure of the table here. In case if you wanted to get all the details related to this table, you can use describe formatted, then lines. It will take care of providing all the details with respect to this table called as lines. You can check the column names and the data types here. Then you can actually check the type of the table, location, even when the table is created, so on and so forth. When it comes to type of the table, it is external. Location is nothing but this one. Now, if you wanted to preview the data, you can preview the data like this. You can say select star from lines. It will display all the lines that are there in it, or all the records that are there in it. As we have only 95, it have displayed all 95 here. But if you have large data set, then it will display first 10,000 records when we use select star from like this. In case if you wanted to get count, you can say select count of star from lines. Then it will give us the count. Let me say select count of star from lines. This should return 95. You can see 95 here. Now, if you wanted to filter the data, you can use where clause. Spark SQL is ANSI SQL. If you are familiar about any database technology where you are able to write the queries, the same syntax will work even with Spark SQL. However, when it comes to some functions, the syntax might be different, but overall query will look similar to whatever you are familiar with. In this case, I should be able to say select star from lines where value not equal to empty string, so that we filter out all empty strings in lines. Now let me run this. It should return 60 because we have 35 of them with empty strings. You can see 60 here. This is how you can actually get started with not only creating the table but also previewing the data in the table. Also, we have gone through the details about previewing the schema details. Then we have even gone into the details about filtering the data using where clause. Now let's get into the details with respect to coming up with a logic related to word count. For that, we have to use advanced functions such as split and explode. You will understand the syntax of those functions when we get into the details. So far, we have gone through the details about how to preview the data using Spark SQL and also how to create external tables. On top of external tables, we have even gone through the details about how to preview the data in external tables and also how to filter the data. Before taking further to come up with the logic related to word count, let's identify the standard transformations and also different clauses which we typically use to take care of standard transformations. When it comes to standard transformations, we have quite a few of them. The first one is nothing but projection. We use select clause for projection. Then we have filtering. We use where clause for filtering. Then when it comes to aggregations, we use group by. Along with group by, we use aggregate functions such as sum, min, max, average, etc. in select clause. Also, if you wanted to filter the data on top of aggregated results, we use having as well. So with respect to aggregations, we use group by, and with respect to filtering on top of aggregated results, we use having. On top of these, we also have to join multiple tables. For that, we use inner join, outer join, etc. Then with respect to sorting, this is another standard transformation which we take care using SQL. We use order by. We should be able to sort the data in ascending order or descending order. We can also perform sorting using composite keys, which means sorting using multiple columns. On top of these things, we can also take care of ranking and cumulative aggregations. For ranking and cumulative aggregations, we use window functions. As part of the select clause, we'll have function, then over, then partition by, then partition by column, then order by column. This is the special syntax with respect to ranking and cumulative aggregations. These are also known as window functions. These are typically used within select clause. These are the standard transformations which we take care of using SQL in any database technology, not just Spark SQL. Spark SQL supports all these without any issues. That being said, Spark SQL also have quite a few functions. They are also known as predefined functions. If you wanted to get a list of predefined functions, all you need to do is you have to use this one, show functions. It will list all the functions that are out there in Spark SQL. First, you will see the list of operators. These are all operators. Then the functions start here. We have quite a lot of functions. Let's scroll down completely to see how many functions we have. We have 600 of them. So we have robust set of functions which we can use based on our needs. When it comes to string manipulation functions, you can use functions such as upper, lower, init cap, etc. You can also use functions such as split to convert a string into multiple strings. Also, you can use date manipulation functions in case if you are dealing with the dates. Like that, we have 600 different functions in Spark SQL. In case if you wanted to review the syntax of any function, you should be able to use describe command. You can say describe, and then you can say function, then function name. Let's say you wanted to preview details with respect to ABS. You should be able to say describe function ABS like this, and then you can actually get the syntax and semantics of this function. We'll be using functions such as split and explode to take care of the word count. We can use describe function split and describe function explode to get the syntax and semantics of those functions. However, I'll be covering those details at a later point in time. That being said, we have not only gone through standard transformations which can be taken care of using Spark SQL, we have also gone through details about how to review the existing predefined functions in Spark SQL and also how to get help related to these functions. As we have gone through quite a few important details using Spark SQL, now it is time for us to get into core logic of word count using Spark SQL. If you preview the data related to lines, which is nothing but a data frame based on spark readme.md, the data look like this. Here we have each line in the file as record in lines. This is the first record, this is the second record, so on and so forth. To get the word count, we have to make sure each of these words are converted to records. As of now, we have 60 records after removing the empty strings. Each of these 60 records have multiple words. This one have 3, this one probably have 11. Like that, each and every line have one or more words in them. To convert these records into more records with words, we have to use two functions. The first one is nothing but split. The second one is nothing but explode. First, let's copy this. Now, let's scroll down. Then, let's say select split, then pass this string. Before that, let me actually say describe, then function, then split. Here I'm actually going through the documentation related to split. When it comes to split, it actually takes care of converting a string based on a regular expression. In this case, it is nothing but space into multiple substrings, where these multiple substrings will be there as part of array. So in this case, based on the separator that is passed using regex, the string will be converted to array of substrings. If space is the delimiter, then this one will be converted to list which contain these words separately in the list. You can actually run this and then you should be able to see the outcome. However, it have failed. It is saying the split requires 2 or 3 parameters. In this case, I have passed only one, which is nothing but string. Here I have to specify the delimiter. The delimiter is nothing but space. Now let me run this. You can see the outcome. It have returned only one record, but the data type of this record is nothing but array or list. It is not string. Here whatever we have passed to split is of type string. That string is converted to array or list. Now we need to make sure these are exploded into individual records. For that purpose, we can use additional function called as explode. Let's review the documentation related to explode. For that, we should be able to say describe, then formatted, then explode. Let's see what it have to say. Here I have used formatted, which is not correct. I have to use describe function explode. Explode is function, not table. That's why it have failed earlier. When I replace this to function, it is working as per the expectations. So when it comes to explode, you have to pass an expression which actually return list or array. That list or array will be exploded into multiple rows. That is what being specified here. Now let's use explode on top of split. Let me say explode, then let me pass split to it. Also let me name as word. This is alias for whatever is being generated. Now let me run this. You can see the outcome. The single array is converted to 14 words. You can see here this new result have 14 records. Earlier it have only one record. That record is of type array. Now the outcome have 14 records. We can use similar logic on top of our value column in lines. In place of this, we can actually say value. Let me pick this one. Let me paste here. Now let me replace this with value. Then let me use from clause. Let me say lines. Then let me say where. Then value not equal to empty string. Now let me run this. Let's review the results. If you look at the outcome, you can see this query have returned 472 rows. Each row is nothing but individual word from the original file. Keep in mind, we have discarded all the empty lines which we have in the original file. It is because of this logic. As we are able to convert the lines in the file into words, now it is time for us to take it further and come up with logic related to word count. So far we have created external table pointing to the location where we have spark readme.md. Then using that external table, we are able to come up with logic to compute words. You can see this is the query which actually generated the words based on the data we have in the file. Now using this, it is time for us to come up with logic to compute word count. To compute word count, using the words, we have to group the data and then we have to use the aggregate function such as count. In this case, explode is advanced function. You can use explode only in select clause. You will not be able to use explode anywhere else. So if you attempt to group the data using this approach, it will not work. Let me say select explode as word, then from lines, then group by, then this one, then count of star to get word count. This will fail because you cannot use explode in group by clause. Explode can be used only in select clause. Let's run this. Let's see what happens. As expected, it have failed. Let's expand this to go to the details. It is saying the non-aggregating expression value is based on columns which are not participating in the group by clause. Add the columns or the expression to the group by, aggregate the expression or use any value. These are some hints. This approach will not work. The way it will work is like this. We have to clean this up. Also, we have to clean this up. We have to use something called as CTE. CTE stands for common table expression. It starts with clause. Then you have to give the name. Let's say words underscore CTE. As then we can have this logic which actually compute the words. I have to make sure the bracket ends here. This entire select query should go in these brackets after as. Let me make sure it is indented properly. Here we can say select star from words underscore CTE. Let's make sure we run this and confirm this is syntactically correct. Now you can see the results as per the expectations. The only difference is instead of just running this, we have said with words underscore CTE, as we have enclosed the logic in brackets, then we have said select star from words underscore CTE. Now this will act as view or table. Whatever is there as part of this can be accessed using this outer query, which means this word is accessible here. We can say select word comma, then count of star from words underscore CTE, then group by word. Now if we run this, it will work as per the expectations. We will not only get the word, we will also get the count. You can see the count here. Let's also provide alias for the count. Let me say add word underscore count. Now let's run this. This time it will work like charm. You can see even the column name is changed to word count. Also, in case if you wanted to sort the data in descending order by word count, you should be able to say order by 2 DESC, or even you can say order by word count DESC. You should be able to refer these as part of the order by clause. Now let's run this, and you can see the outcome as per the expectations. When it comes to the first one, the word is null character. We have 32 such words. Then the is repeated 21 times, so and so forth. This is how you should be able to come up with the logic to perform the word count. As we are ready with the core logic, now it is time for us to go to the details about how this data can be written into the files using Spark SQL. Here we have come up with the core logic to compute word count using Spark SQL. Now it is time for us to use Spark SQL to write results of this query into DBFS location. There are multiple ways to achieve it. One is to create a table and then populate data into the table. The second one is without creating the table also, using Spark SQL, we should be able to write data into a specific DBFS location. In this case, I will not be creating the table because word count is a simple example to just get started with Spark SQL. I'll be using the insert statement to directly write to DBFS location. The way you can come up with the insert statement is like this. First, let me make sure I copy this query. Now, let me scroll down. Here we have to start with insert. Then after insert, you can use either into or overwrite. If you wanted to append the data into the target location, then you use into. Otherwise, you use overwrite. In this case, I'll be using overwrite. After insert into or overwrite, we have to use keyword directory because we wanted to write to specific location in DBFS. Then we have to specify the location. We can say DBFS : then data word underscore count. After this, we need to specify the file format. The way we specify the file format is by using a clause. We have to say using and then file format. The supported file formats are nothing but CSV, text, Parquet, JSON, Delta, etc. In this case, to keep it simple, I'll be using CSV. Also, while writing data in CSV format, I would like to preserve the header based on the column names. For that purpose, I can use options clause. As part of options, I can say header, then equal to true. Now, we just have to paste the query. This is how you can actually come up with the insert statement along with the query. Now, if you run this, it will take care of populating the query results into this location. Let's run this and then we'll take it forward. You see, it is running. Let's wait until it is fully run. We'll also go to the details about how to validate to see if data is properly written to the target location or not. In this case, again, we should be able to use this approach. Let me say select star from, then CSV dot in backticks, we can specify the path. We should be able to preview the data. You can see the outcome. However, when it comes to column names, it is saying underscore C0 and underscore C1. But if you look at the data, you can see word and word count as first record and then the actual words along with the counts, which means the data is written appropriately in the target location. As this is not working as per the expectation, we can create an external table on top of it or a temporary view on top of it, and then we can take it forward. If you want, you can also create either a temporary table or permanent table as well, but I would prefer to use a temporary view. For that purpose, we just have to say create or replace, then temporary view, we can specify the name here. Let me say odd underscore count underscore v using CSV. Then options, as part of options, you can specify the path, then header, then infer schema. That way, when it comes to word count, it will be inferred as numeric type. Otherwise, word count will be inferred as string type. Already I have ran this. The view is successfully created. Let me say select star from word underscore count underscore v. Let me run this. You should be able to see the data in this view, which is pointing to this location. The outcome is as per the expectations. We have successfully written the processed data into DBFS using this query. Here we haven't written into any Spark metastore tables. We have written directly into the location in DBFS. Spark provides us that flexibility. You can not only write into tables, you can also write into locations. As we have gone through the end-to-end process of reading data using Spark SQL, then processing using Spark SQL, and also writing into specific location using Spark SQL, now it is time for us to create a complete end-to-end application and run it. We will not only run, but also we'll review driver logs as well as Spark UI. These are the areas which you should focus on to understand what is going on with respect to your Spark applications. Also, in case of any issues, you should be reviewing those to see where the issues are. You will understand what I'm talking about once I go to the details. For now, we have completed the core logic of performing word count using Spark SQL. In case if you wanted to go to the details about how to take care of word count using PySpark data frame APIs, there's a video in our channel. You can find the link in the description. On top of it, there are quite a few videos which are related to not only Spark but also Databricks. We have provided some of the links in the description. Feel free to click on those links and watch the content to learn more about Spark as well as Databricks. Also, we'll be publishing quite a lot of content like this as part of our channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to subscribe and also hit on bell icon so that you are notified whenever we upload the content. In case if you like the content, don't forget to like, comment and share so that it reaches out to more audience. Yeah, we have gone through all the details with respect to reading data from DBFS and then process and also writing data back to DBFS using Spark SQL. Now it is time for us to come up with the application for word count. We'll not only come up with the application for word count, we'll also run and we'll review the details using both driver logs as well as Spark UI. That being said, first let's make sure we clone this. For that, you can go to File and then click on Clone. Then you can rename this by saying word count Spark SQL, then Final. Let me click on Clone. It will create a copy of existing notebook. Once the copy is created, we can clean up whatever cells we don't need in this to run as application. Here I'm still in the original one. Let me go to the other one. Let me go to workspace here and then let me click on this to go to Spark SQL Final. This is not required. This is just to preview the dataset. Even this is not required. This is required. Here we are attempting to create external table. The table with the name lines already exists. To make sure this runs without any issues, instead of just saying create external table, we'll say create external table if not exists. So in this case, if the table exists, it will be ignored. If the table doesn't exist, it will be created. Keep in mind, if you don't have if not exists, if the table exists, it will fail saying table already exists. For that reason, we have included if not exists so that our jobs doesn't fail or our applications doesn't fail. After this cell, you can clean up all the cells except this one where we have the complete logic of processing the data and also writing to the DBFS location specified here. Then you can leave these as is. These can be used to validate whether the data is actually processed and returned to the specified target location or not. If you don't want these cells, you can remove these. Typically in Spark applications, we'll have code like this towards the end of it so that we take care of data validations as soon as the applications are run. In this case, based on your preference, either you can keep these cells or you can remove these. Now, make sure this notebook is attached to active cluster, then click on run all. Let's wait until all the cells are run, then we'll take it forward. You can see everything is working as per the expectations. The external table is created, the data is populated into the target location, the view is successfully created, even this query ran successfully, which means the data is successfully written to the target location. Now, we can also review the driver logs as well as Spark UI for these cells or for this application. For that purpose, you can go to compute, then you can click on this one to go to the cluster, then you can go to driver logs. If there are any errors, you should be able to see the errors either as part of standard error or as part of standard output. When it comes to most of the errors raised by Spark SQL, they will be seen under standard error only. Sometimes when we use Python as programming language, if there are any errors, if exceptions are not handled properly, then the errors might get into standard output. Hence, it is wise to review both. On top of driver logs, you can also go to Spark UI. You can click on this to open in a new tab where this is the outside of the Databricks platform. You can review details about all the cells that are executed here. Now, you can also go to SQL data frame and you should be able to review the details about SQL queries that are run. As part of Spark UI, you will not only see the last run, you will also see all the runs since the cluster is up and running. If you want to review the details about the last run, you should be familiar about how to relate the cells to the jobs and then to the SQL or data frame in Spark UI. Let me go to the other tab here. Let me go to notebooks. Let me click on this. This is the Spark application which we have ran. We would like to review the details with respect to this application. Wherever you see Spark jobs, you can expand. You see job IDs. There are 4 jobs associated with this query. They are nothing but 23, 24, 25 and 26. Now we can go to the Spark UI here. Let's go to jobs. We are interested in 23, 24, 25 and 26. You can see the details here. We have 23, 24, 25, 26. With respect to these two, these are skipped. Most likely with respect to this one, you might have an entry in SQL data frame. Let me go to SQL data frame here. In most of the cases, you will have job ID here. However, there is no job ID with respect to this one, but this is the one which we are supposed to review. Let's click on this. You can go to the details here. If you have prior experience in IT, if you heard about something called as explain plans and execution plans, you should be able to review the details with respect to explain plans or execution plans of Spark SQL queries by expanding details here. Here you should be able to find all the details about explain plan or execution plan of the Spark SQL queries. Here we have gone through the details about how to come up with applications such as word count using Databricks Notebook, run it, and also review the details using driver logs as well as Spark UI. As part of this video, we have gone through an end-to-end process of developing applications such as word count. We have taken the example of word count, but this is the process which we typically follow to build applications using Spark. That being said, we have learned how to read data from files in DBFS using Spark SQL, then how to process data using Spark SQL. In that process, we have explored functions such as split, explode, and also clauses such as group by along with functions such as count. Using all those, we have come up with logic for the word count. Once we have come up with word count logic, we have even seen how to write processed data back to DBFS using Spark SQL itself. We have used insert overwrite directory to write data back to DBFS. On top of it, we have consolidated the code as a Spark application, run it, and also we have reviewed the details about how to troubleshoot issues using driver logs as well as Spark UI. This is the process which we typically follow even in real world projects. In case if you wanted to learn more about Spark or Databricks, there are quite a few videos on our channel. We have included some of the links for your reference. You should be able to click on those and learn more about not only Spark but also Databricks. Also, in case if you want our guidance when it comes to learning all key data engineering skills, we also offer something called as guided programs. In the guided programs, we teach SQL, Python, Spark, Databricks, cloud platforms, and many more. On top of self-paced video content, you will also get live support in case if you run into any issues. Also, will actually prepare you for the jobs. We have something called as job placement assistance. Will help you building profile. Will help you facing interviews using mock interviews. Also, we'll start referring you to our esteemed clients. In case if you are interested in our guided program, just send an email to support@itversity.com. We'll get back to you based on our convenience. Also, we'll provide you the email ID as part of the description as well. That being said, happy learning. I hope you are enjoying the content in our channel.